Namaste. Welcome to the concluding part of my 29th book synopsis. The book name is Anartha by Sri Achyut Godbole. In the last part, we saw current situation and we started discussing on environment. We will continue on environment and then remaining two parts as well. There is an organization called as International Panel on Climate Change. It tried to prove that global warming does exist. Of course, many countries who would get impacted if that is proven tried to prove wrong. Subsequently, when they were not able to prove that, they tried to prove that it does not make a difference with the global warming. This is a natural process. However, IPCC could conclusively prove that it is a serious matter and we should do something about it. And they brought forward this matter in the Kyoto protocol, where it was thought that we need to do something very concretely to reduce it. Immediately after that, and it was thought that we should be giving a definite target to each country. As soon as that was announced, developed countries started blaming developing countries like India and China, saying that you are the people who are responsible because you are emitting the carbon maximum. Developing countries claimed back on US and other countries, stating that in your countries the per capita carbon emission is very high. Of course, both sides were wrong. However, finally it was decided and agreed by all the countries that by 2012 all the countries will reduce the carbon emission overall, that is all for a world as such, from 1990 to 2012 it will get reduced by 5.2%, and then each country was supposed to ratify it in their own country and take this forward. Fun begins now. As soon as this happened, many new organizations suddenly sprung up, scientific organizations trying to prove that there is no issue on global warming. Second thing which happened is that some of the heads of the organizations or research organizations which did not toe a particular line were asked to leave. Then the concept of carbon trading was introduced. It was a very funny concept that the countries which have surplus carbon credit available, that is, they are, say for example, if a particular country is permitted to use spend up to X and they are doing less than that, then they can sell their extra saved carbon to the rich countries or developed countries. And there were many other things which were did. Of course, some of the countries did not ratify the pact, some countries withdrew from the pact, and finally in 2015 in Paris Protocol, this pact was made optional. So serious thing to happen. This concludes on environment. The next part is hedonism. HEDONISM. What is hedonism? It is a pursuit of happiness or pursuit of pleasure and self-indulgence. Why are we seeing that people are doing that? People are seen to be buying like mad continuously. Why does this happen? Of course, this concept has taken roots in India as well, while it was earlier seen only in other countries. Why it is happening like that? According to author, it is again because of the GDP that this is happening. Why? The Guru Mantra is given to the producers that you produce in large quantity, sell it, produce it, sell it, produce it. The Guru Mantra given to the buyer is buy, consume, discard, buy, consume, discard, buy, consume, discard, and thereby we are not trying to reuse anything. That's what author says. There can be definitely deliberations and discussions and arguments on this. According to author, what is the impact of hedonism? He claims that in the last 40 years, we as humans, only in 40 years, we as humans have destroyed 1/3 of the natural resources, which obviously cannot be replenished. Every year, around 2.98 crore trees are cut all over the world. And wherever there is afforestation happening with the help of government agencies, those are primarily a particular category of plants are grown up, which can be used for the purpose of biofuel. Obviously they are not able to hold sufficient water, and this obviously reduces the biodiversity. Next point, water. It's an interesting thing which he has said. We should look at water or any product from its water footprint. Now, what does that mean? Let us take an example. When we buy a 300 ml soft drink, how much water is actually consumed? When we mean actually consumed, it means that for the producing of that bottle, sugar is used and many other components are used. So to produce those components also, how much water is consumed? So direct water and indirectly how much water is consumed is need to be calculated. So for one bottle of 300 ml, we use approximately 173 liters of water. So when we finish our cold drink, we finish 173 liters of water. Minerals. Once minerals are extracted, they cannot be replenished. Second part is that the extraction process is very harmful to the environment. The entire land near the area becomes barren. Huge air pollution happens, as well as different diseases are caused to the laborers as well as nearby population. In the similar way, author describes the impact of usage of computers, aluminium cans, cement, glass, paper, etc. on the environment. It is an interesting but a terrifying read. Similarly, author explains the issues related to waste, whether it is household waste, industrial waste, or e-waste. That concludes the portion on hedonism. The next one and the last one is conclusion. After Second World War, say still 70s, the many countries had developmental states. Those countries were primarily focused on health, education, pension, etc. However, even in those stages, none of the country faced any economic serious concerns or financial difficulties. However, during that period, even though these were capitalist countries, it had a humanity left in it. During the decade of 1960s to 70s, many movements came in. Before that, and people's mindset started changing with them. Before that, there were unwritten rules on what culture to adopt, what music to hear, what formal clothes to be worn, which kind of hotels you go, etc., etc. The new movements which came on tried to throw away all that. So some of the movements were, like becoming hippie, staying together without marriage, woman liberalization, etc., etc. There was nothing wrong or right about the movements, but what happened is that this created a kind of vacuum, and then this vacuum was filled by a neoliberalization. Well, after trying for a decade, all these movements died, and then they merged themselves in mainstream. However, this gap was used by neoliberalized. What is neoliberalization? Author says that there is concept of to have or to be. What does that mean? It means happy by owning something, or to be happy by enjoying your life. We started going towards the first phase, whereby we started becoming happy by owning something, and when we own something, that happiness would remain for some time, then that will go, then we start again purchasing something, we remain happy for some more time, then again we become sad, then we again purchase. So to become happy, we started purchasing is what author says. Does that mean that globalization is bad? No, definitely not. Does that mean that international trade should stop? No, definitely should not. But however, he feels that we need to definitely see whether we need this disproportionate production of goods. Author says that encouragement should be given to those industries who encourage reduced pollution, increase the job opportunities, as well as provide job satisfaction. At the same time, we need to start the movement to look at the alternate solutions to reduce the garbage as well as better management of the garbage. Now, one more thing before I close. The book stops here. One more thing before I close. Recently, I read one book called as In the Service of Republic by Mr. Vijay Kelkar and Ajay Shah. Now, it was found very interesting that some of the points mentioned by both the authors were common and some were exactly contradictory. I'll give you a few examples of them. Competition in companies will solve problem of price. whether it is good or bad to be uber rich. Third, zero interference or intervention by the government in certain areas. Both the books have contradictory views. Of course, I am not the person who is so well read that I can comment on which of them is correct. However, individually we can take the stand or the way we look at the scenario. Of course, when I read the book, I felt that the author has a socialistic views, while the other authors have exactly opposite views, and therefore the comments will be given as per their particular thought process. This particular book primarily discusses about the problems, and author has said somewhere that he will come out with the second book on the discussion on solution. So we will wait for the book and see what is that author says on the solutions part. Well, before I end, thank you so much to my college friend Ashish Fadnis who suggested this book to me. And those of you who are on Facebook, LinkedIn or YouTube, you can see that anywhere on all the three social media. Thank you so much.